that I want that song in? What is the thing? And it's right away. And before it took forever to do that. But it doesn't, the problem is then people rely so much on AI, they're not anymore can listen to it, in the right way. You and
Yeah.
I can still listen to it and say, we got to tweak that. And I think this would really help. So, because we are creators, right? We're not copyists. And the thing is, people buy your song not because you are you. They buy your song because it resonates with them. And
Right.
what resonates with human is the uniqueness, because we are all 8 billion people, all unique.
Give them the right taxes, and and it's just like, why are you making it so difficult? Is it one country, or is it like 51 different countries that are all like, it's just, but this complexity can be navigated with AI, to your point,
Yeah.
and simplified, because yes, nobody wants to do bookkeeping, nobody wants to do all this boring mundane
Yeah,
tasks.
exactly. Equal to average. And then you actually betray yourself, because you're not your 101. Yeah.
Yeah, you stop being unique, because like the system expects you to go in and do
Yeah.
work, concentrate like crazy, be super productive, or we're
Yeah.
gonna replace you with AI, and then they're gonna
Yeah.
replace you with this AI anyways. Once that AI
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, that's the more you fit in, the easier that you're replaced by AI.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of What About AI Agents. Today we have Michael Magrutsche. He is a multimedia artist and an educator. He runs a podcast about art, and he is a creativity and wellness educator. And really, we thought it would be interesting to bring him on board, because we normally have technical people on the show,
Yeah.
but now we just want to get like more of an artsy layman perspective, so to speak,
Hmm.
and to see what insights can we derive, because art is getting disrupted by AI, it's getting
Yeah.
disrupted by AI agents, and the art, as we know, will change. So maybe I'll let Michael introduce himself, and then we can
Yeah.
get started.
My name is Michael Magrutsche. I was born in Vienna, in Austria, and I moved 46 years here to America. And I am extreme neurodivergent. I have no knowledge. I'm not an expert, but I am aware. I'm very aware of things. And I can tell you, uh, I did 450 guest appearances on podcasts, because my human-centric view, I have a very human-centric view on technology, on anything. I talk to a doctor, I talk to a lawyer, and anything, and say, how is the system relevant, and how is the human centricity? And we find a lot out, and the people keep re-inviting me, because we find out a lot of stuff by talking to each other. Because awareness is not knowledge. Knowledge is old. It's always old. When you and I say, "Oh, we just figured that out," it's already old, because we're aware. So the awareness is more that gets us to the wisdom that affects us all humans, is what we actually should know about AI agents and anybody and any AI. And you asked me something at the beginning, and I say, the promotion of AI, that it could kill us, would be, like I say, is the promotion. A knife can cut sausages and bread, but it actually can kill you can kill a person with a knife too. It's a tool. It's not a miracle machine. AI is a tool, a very great tool that humans created, that's actually in our usage for 10, 20 years already. It's just now it got so far to copy humans in a way, not totally ever, but to copy the humans in a way where humans actually can use it, and have an agent and say, can you help me with this? Can you do this? And actually can talk to it. But you know that yourself, the robotics of AI are very, they, they're not around. They should be everywhere, right? With old people and kids, and no, but they're not anywhere, because it's not that easy to program, and to have the intuition, the six senses that humans have, and say, "Oh, Philippe, you have a headache. I see that." The AI is not aware. The AI can just look at it and then fix A and B together. but as a binary and linear.
Well, actually, funny you mentioned that. Recently there was a study that was done where
Yeah,
AI was able to identify, based on the eyeballs of the people,
yeah,
some sort of an ailment or a disease, something that doctors couldn't do, but AI could.
yeah.
Sorry.
But that's a whole different thing, because that's a the whole medicine is a linear science, right? It's not like, oh, the moon is full and now we gonna think. It's like very linear science. And of course, AI is beating us in any AI will beat me in mathematics and everything else, because anything linear science, it will beat me. And that's why
Right.
we should use them. That's why where we should use stuff that actually is better than us. Why would I use a knife cuts better than my hand? So I'm using a knife to cut the sausage. I'm not going to use my hand to cut the sausage.
Well, yeah. I mean, and they've been successfully testing this therapeutic tech as well,
Yeah,
where AI can, study the movements of eyeballs. It can create like a model of the person's behavior and cognitive kind
yeah,
of and non-verbal patterns, and then it can help kind of
yep,
uh, well, apply therapeutic techniques to them.
yep,
So seems like uh, in a lot of senses, these machines are gonna come as an assistant
yep,
to us as humans, and they will assist us more and more in our everyday life.
yep,
So maybe a painter will now be a good prompt engineer, who can engineer a good prompt to create a great paint. Uh, it's just a matter of time until these things replace a lot of the things that we do, or at least augment, because the
yep,
world is changing. Well, maybe not as much in America, but if you go to places like China
yep,
or Dubai, you're gonna see AI used a
yep.
lot more than, let's say,
Well,
what's happening here.
yeah, I agree with you. And I'm very pro AI. I'm not against AI. It's just the perception. Oh, I have AI, and it must be right, right? It must this human perception. Oh, because AI, it must be right. And what it really did, the harm that it did, actually, because we did it ourselves, because AI has no thought, has not evil thought or anything. We created AI, and it it will. We said when we launched it, it says it can kill us, and I think that was the worst launch ever. And then AI is really a system. It is for systems. It's not for humans so much, other than looking at you like it's also a system of hospital, right? Obviously, to care and to see human patterning and whatever. I think that's really good, but I think it's primarily to do system work. Nobody wants to fill out forms. Nobody wants to write emails. Nobody wants to do all that. They want to create. Humans want to create. They want to create art. They want to create a store. So your store, what is the beautiful of yours? It's not the selling. It's the creating of the thing and putting it all together. And that's what we all do. And AI, and we got the system so complicated with filling out forms. You need this permission, that AI can be really an agent for us to keep agency for our, for our system stuff, for my business. I don't want to fill this out or do this or that. And I give it to a thing because it's repetitive work. It's not where I need to be creative. I need to think, oh, let me see what I feel is the right thing for this. No, I don't use AI for this, but I use AI for, fill this out, make this, get this application, get this permission, contact that person, do what system really required from me. That's why I use it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I agree with you that automating things like bookkeeping, like
Yeah,
compliance. If you
exactly.
own a
Who wants
business in the US,
taxes?
the worst. It's the worst thing ever to own an American company.
Yeah,
They make it so hard to own a business and America is a country that has like millions of businesses, but they make
yeah,
it so hard. You have to be compliant in each state. You have to have an agent in
yeah,
each state to do business in,
yeah.
and God forbid you don't give them the right taxes, and they're gonna. And it's just like, why are you making it so difficult? Is it one country or is it like 51 different countries that are all like, it's just, but this complexity can be navigated with AI, to your point,
Yeah.
and simplified. Because
Ex-
yes, nobody wants to do bookkeeping. Nobody wants to do all this boring, mundane
Yeah,
tasks that
exactly.
eat
People
up
want to
your time.
create. They want to create. They want to say,
Yeah,
"Hey, I want to do a shoe." And the thing is, it got so complicated with systems that the people don't even want to run. Let's say you and I grew up, right? What happened was, hey, I want to do saddles for horses. I want to do a car. I want to do the thing. Nobody wants to do this. Everybody says, hey, it's too much. I don't get paid enough. I just want to deal with money. I want to get money and make money with money. That's and AI, you can't use AI for this. I mean, you couldn't use it somehow, but not much because it's a feeling thing, more a feeling thing of where to invest and where not to invest, and nobody can predict the future. I mean, when they did the chicken and the machine, the computer, the chicken is as good or sometimes better than the computer.
well, it's 50-50, right? So
Yeah,
you can have all kinds of indicators.
yeah,
But it's funny that the story of DeepSeek, the one that like
yeah,
scared the entire US
yeah,
AI industry, was
yeah.
that these guys, they bought this bootleg Nvidia cards to basically
Hmm.
do frequency trading, and they were using those Nvidia cards to do trading,
Yeah,
and this was like their side project. So like
yeah,
they have this extremely powerful neural network that do trades right now, and
yeah.
they say they make money, but I don't know. Like it's
But it's all from nonprofit. It was all the free software. It was not bought software or anything. And it's funny that they stole the AI stole from all the creators like you, me, everybody
yeah.
that's created stole it. And now when AI is stolen from AI, all of a sudden they see how it is, right? They see it. And Alibaba did something too. After that thing, and that's what this was like 2 days before Larry, the guy from Oracle,
Yeah.
said we are already doing the next thing. 2 days later, DeepSeek came out, and then the and
Yeah. This felt like
and
it
then
was
the Alibaba.
predicted. And Alibaba and like a bunch of Chinese AIs, they all launched within the same month. It's
Yeah,
almost like somebody planned it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
because Trump announces $1 trillion invested into US AI, and all of
yeah.
a sudden China has all these models that
Exactly.
some guy trained in his basement or some other
Yeah,
story that they come up
yeah,
with. And they're great. Like, I just trained it on my Pentium 3 in my basement. That
yeah,
was the
yeah,
come on, like, and everybody believed them too, and they were like, "Yeah, we published the paper," and
yeah.
you know,
And everybody integrated. Microsoft, they all integrated it.
yep,
They
everybody.
all integrated.
I use DeepSeek sometimes, but
Yep,
it's such a whiny little AI. When you start talking to it, it starts telling you like it's internal thinking, and it's
yeah,
just like it's just the most pathetic thing ever. And you're like, just it sounds like like a schoolboy that is like trying to
yeah,
figure out what somebody wants from them, and they're very
yeah,
nervous and anxious. And it's just not
yeah,
something you want to see, like the same way
yeah.
you don't want to hear
They're
people's
free. For
internal
free, you
dialogue.
want to see it. For free, you want to see it. Not when you pay for it. You
Yeah,
know.
no, you'll have to pay for it eventually because you have to host this thing. I mean,
Of
it's a
course.
free
Yeah.
model, but it needs to be hosted. And then the whole question is whether or not they actually just stole a bunch of data from US AIs or they
Yeah.
trained it on Chinese AIs. But it's irrelevant. I mean, China
Sort
has
of.
a lot of money and they can throw it into building this infrastructure and
Yeah.
running it, and then they can spawn 10 companies that all build this AI by themselves in their own
Yeah.
basement and do like a humble brag where, oh, we trained it for
Yeah.
$1 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all about humble brags. They love to humble brag about stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is also, um, what did I want to tell you about the? Uh, it's the AI is not the solution. The people think. I think the apps that come out, the AI apps. So this is for painting. This is for mathematics. This is for bookkeeping. That's much better than one ChatGPT for everything.
Oh yeah.
And I yeah because we human also. I'm not going to you to talk about sausages. I'm going to you to talk about AI, right? So that's I think that's going to be better and also helps the people and say I really need this, I don't need that. And always the big companies always sell you like a car. All you need is gas, a brake and gear shifter. That's all, and turn on. But every car is a computer today. You can do so many things. Yeah, if you do need this, you do this, and it's like has so many functions that can actually break. And now you have always a headache with it. And so I'm for simplicity always. I'm always for simply. Hey, let me talk to you. Instead of let me give you an thing of with email, and then you come back to me, and I say, hey, let's talk for me in 5 minutes. You and I have done the conversation. We know what we need to do. Versus
Yes, yes,
I come to
exactly.
you systemically with a text and with email, and somebody gives me your address, and it's just crazy.
Well, yeah, and that's what most of the conversations that we've been having on this podcast focus on is
Yeah,
that vertical applications of these AI agents to solve
yeah,
like a single problem that you may potentially face, like just solve it really well. Because ChatGPT is it's a great platform, but you have to develop something on top of it or create something by
exactly.
yourself
Yeah,
on top of it that will actually be useful. Because and in this day and age, there's so many options that you have. You don't even need to pay for AI. There is a lot of
yeah,
free things that you can use. So it's I don't know. It's just going to be different, I think. But
yeah,
let's talk about specific applications of AI in the arts and in your space, and like
yeah.
where do you see those applications are? Because many people
Okay.
who listen to us are building agents and are building things, and it would be interesting to see what potential use cases they could explore in your space.
In art, I don't see much in art. Honestly, what I see, because music is the only one where I can actually run music is like mathematics, right? So music can be in a certain thing to sort out things, to try out, to say, hey, you tell me, hey, Michael, get the African beat and then use the electronic from Guns N' Roses, right? And I can mix that together with AI really quickly and see if that even touches me. And then I can go in and refine it and do everything. So it's a lot of things of. So before computers, I paint about 4,000 paintings, and and what I did is when I painted the paintings in the front, I'm very minimal and very uh, very colorful, and they have to be really exactly to vibrate right. So what I did is before the computer, I painted over, mixed the colors because when it's dry, it's different. And when a computer came, I could fix everything on the computer till I had it, and then just paint it. So AI will do the same for art. It just allows us to try more things to get our feelings and say, hell, that's the right thing. The red and the blue, that is the right thing, you know? So, and we'll get say, okay, the D minor and the A fit perfectly in a chord. And let me see what's the best. Am I using strings or am I going to use trumpets? What am I going to use? How does it sound with a five, orchestra of five or with one of 14? How with a symphony orchestra. So how does it sound in the thing? And you can get a feeling and says, I think if the seven is better than the symphony orchestra, that song. So it's a lot for and this is the same with writing. When I use the writing, I don't use AI for writing anymore, but when I used it, I it gives me a lot of variations. I said, I want to say I have a talk with Philippe right now, and it was really great about AI. And I say, give me, you know, an advertising for this. Give me this. Give me this, 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 this. But it takes so much time for reading. See, in the art, you just recognize it right away. But in reading, you have to read all the text, all the text, all the text that it gives me. And it gives me a lot of text, as you know. AI just pumps out whatever you say. I want it harsher. I want it soft. I want it to be very pleasant. I want to be deep. And it gives you the variations of that. So I think in art is actually the least because art should be create and also you see what's that called the app the most used app for painting, what is that called?
Mid-journey?
Midjourney, yeah, Midjourney. I'm not good with names. So Midjourney, you see it. It's done by Midjourney. I mean, I can see it like that. And I tell you one thing. This is very interesting. In the art academy, uh, they invited for like the last 10 years people because AI was scanning all the Van Goghs and all this stuff, and it was scanning these things, and it actually they had AI create new paintings from Picasso, new paintings from Van Gogh, and the people that the critics, which are not usually not artists, the critics always chose AI versions before human versions. But that was on a systemic, what is systemic strong? Van Gogh obviously is sellable. Picasso is sellable, right? But the people are so, the critics are always looking at these patterns, and they said, "Oh my God, this is better than anything you have." And literally for 5 or 6 years, AI wins MIT. MIT. It wins in MIT when they do the thing. But in real, it doesn't, because you can get Midjourney. You detect Midjourney and say, "Oh, another Midjourney." It would be rather better if your kid would have drawn something. You would have looked at that. But everything looks perfect. Art has no perfection, like humans have none.
Yeah, I guess to your point, we had another discussion with another person, and they said like it doesn't take away that if you replace everything with AI, you'll just be bored of everything because it will all
Yeah,
be perfect. It
hundred
will
percent,
and it
hundred
will take
percent.
away it will take away that human experience, the
Yeah,
soul of it. And I
yeah,
guess for certain things, AI is better, especially for a cold corporate type of like marketing materials and things
yes,
like that. But when it comes to art, well, you mentioned a good thing. It can help accelerate the process, and I
yeah,
feel like a lot of tools can be built around accelerating the way we produce music, for example. Because right
yeah,
now people would use like Fruity Loops or something like that, and they go FL Studios, sorry, and they go
yeah,
and they like and back in the day that was it. But now, like with the introduction of AI, could potentially be just a prompt, and you can tune the prompt, and it can generate all the soundtracks based on that prompt, and you can tune each individual track, so you can compose with your words instead of the notes, which
yeah,
me, who doesn't like to
yeah.
compose with the notes, would very much enjoy.
I don't either. I don't either. But because you still have to, even if you get a pattern and say, I want this rhythm, I want this, and you have all these things, you get all this
Yeah,
stuff. You still have to tweak it. You
yeah.
still have to make it unique. You can't. Nobody wants a non-unique, a song
Well,
that's like
that's
every song.
that's the thing. So, like for example, in development, we have things like Cursor and Windsurf that
Yeah,
we write code with assistance of AI. So
yeah,
AI writes some code. It's not correct, but you sit and you tweak it together with AI until it's
yeah,
correct. So
yeah,
picture like you have all these tracks laid out, like you have the drum loop, you have the
yeah,
bass, you have the piano, you have the strings, you have all this, and then you can just tell it, okay, so let's try to tune the piano loop, and and let's just do this. So like, can we try and do this? Can we try and create three variations of the piano loop? And then it can
yeah.
help you do all of that already now. I don't know if
Very
there's
fast, very fast. Like
very
put an.
fast.
I did my CD. I did a record, music CD, and I say, okay, one octave high. I said, what octave? Like I was said before, it's a seven or a symphony orchestra. And I said, and I can check out what is the octave that I want this song in. What's the beats that I want that song in? What is the thing? And it's right away. And before it took forever to do that. But it doesn't. The problem is then people rely so much on AI, they're not anymore can listen to it, in the right way. You and
Yeah.
I can still listen to it and say, "Hey, we got to tweak that." And I think this would really help. So, because we are creators, right? We're not copiers. And the thing is, people buy your song not because you are you. They buy your song because it resonates with them. And
Right.
what resonates with human is the uniqueness, because we are all 8 billion people, all unique. We live the same life, all from a different perspective. You know?
Yeah. And I see there is a bunch of different systems that actually do help you do that, like Aviva or SoundDraw. They help
Yeah,
you compose that music faster. I'll need to take a look. But as far as I've seen, as you mentioned,
yeah,
it's great to have tools like this to assist you. But to your point, you still have to have that feeling, and it's art, and it's all about the feeling. And if you cannot create that feeling and properly transfer that
yeah,
feeling to other people, then this work is worthless. It's like
yeah,
AI generated podcasts. Yeah, you can
yeah.
generate the podcast with AI; it will sound realistic, but you know,
There is nothing said. There is nothing said. I mean, AI could not even comprehend your and my conversation. It couldn't comprehend it. It couldn't make it, because we're talking about context. We're talking about patterning. We're talking about so many things, so many contexts. How can AI keep up with that?
oh, it can. So we can, like, we used to have this real time voice assistant who used to join our podcast,
Yeah,
and it's pretty decent. I mean, you can have a conversation for it. It does get lost in the context. So if
yeah,
we were to mix and match the context, eventually it would get confused and it would
yeah,
spew gibberish. They will improve it eventually. So
yeah,
eventually, AI will be able to keep up will be able to keep up a long context conversation. But even I don't remember probably what we were talking about 15 minutes ago.
yeah.
So like
And
our brains are not that
absolutely, we
much.
let it go. We let it go. We go through experience and let it go. And the thing is, I don't believe that ever it will be okay, will be acceptable, because a lot of humans are like automatons, right? A lot of humans for years now, systems condition us to be, you do the right thing. You do first this, then this, so very linear. So that now we are obviously very easy. In the old times, everybody was a master. Everybody has their own ways. Now the people, okay, I want to be a bank employee. Do this. Easy to exchange with AI, you know. But when you're an artist, you can be easy exchanged because you have your own voice, your own one of one voice, and the more you know that voice, the more you can. And the other thing is, you cannot create for the market. You can say, I want to be accepted and understood by everybody. That's what AI can do. It was perfect writing English and whatever. I want my shitty writing. Philippe, I want my screwing up, my tweaking of language, and everything. I don't want to write perfectly like everybody else, because if perfect becomes like everybody else, how can you ever remember me? How can you ever recall me as saying, oh, that Michael, he was funny, or he was really sad, or he was really boring, or whatever. You can't pull that up. If everybody is just perfect and like AI, and that's what I say, it's so easy to exchange humans that have been for 10 years adapting to systems, linear and discipline, linear and binary. Those are the easiest people to exchange. A person on the conveyor belt. That's the easiest thing. It's so limited what they do, you know.
And it's the
And
worst job in the world.
yeah,
I when I was younger, I went to
yeah,
work at a metal factory, and I
yeah,
just remember that job is like the worst. Is
yeah,
you stand in this loud place, and like
yeah,
metal rods are falling. One,
yeah, yeah,
two,
yeah.
3, 4, 5,
Push a button, push a
6,
button.
7. Yeah,
Yeah,
push it
then,
back, pick it
yeah,
up, put it
yeah,
down, and then again
yeah,
1, 2, and
yeah,
that's 8 hours a day. And these people who do this job are on drugs, and they will do whatever they need. I can't imagine doing. And
yeah,
some people are there for 15 years, and that's
yeah,
all they do. I understand why these people would come home, get drunk, and beat their kids. If that
yeah,
was all their
yeah,
life was that this,
yeah,
then they just people
yeah,
they go crazy. That's not the job. That's worse than any kind of like. Until you experience it, you don't understand how bad this is,
yeah.
right? Like,
But all the people think, see, the people in those metal factories think everybody has to do this. In other factories too. If you're a
yeah,
milkman or whatever, and they just do it. They say, oh, just they never question it. They say that's the system is right, and we got to do with the system. Then we have an income, a check monthly, and we are happy. And that's so sad because I mean, 40% of humans that work in the world have to live by $6. You say there's no slavery anymore, and 20%, 15 to 20% are consumers because the 6%, the people that live for $6 a day cannot consume. They just can't survive. So this is like, what the hell are we talking about? Why are we lying to ourselves? That's why I like so much that all this stuff comes out now all over the world. What these people do, what that people do. I think I like that we are transparent to each other because we can only grow when I'm saying, hey, Philippe, I have cancer. Only that, I couldn't talk or whatever. I want to be honest and transparent instead of saying, hey, Felipe, I'm the big shot. I'm a multimillionaire. I'm going to do that. It's so funny on Instagram. I always see people. I know it's a neighbor of mine. I know the guy that doesn't have any money, has problems with his wife and all this stuff. But then he goes by the Ritz Carlton, makes a selfie from him, and he wasn't even in there peeing at the Ritz Carlton. But he is like he is there. We pretend, and the systems are teaching us. Yeah, you don't say this, you don't say that. No, I say everything I want. I tell you everything. If I like you, Felipe, I say I like you. If you don't, I would tell you that. You would tell me that. This is the only way to be. We can't keep doing this lying and not being transparent and pretending. It's such a
Well,
bullshit.
you're suppressing yourself, and then
Yeah.
they turn you into this. There was, I remember I was reading about some Chinese influencers, and they
Yeah.
live in those upscale hotels, and they
Hmm.
film those reels, but they're virtually homeless, and they just sleep
Exactly.
like they just sleep on the street. Then they go to the gym, they take a shower, and then they film their rich lifestyles.
Yeah.
I don't post stories anymore. I used to post personal stories with my family, but I would
Yeah.
find every time I would post a personal story, I would get in a fight with my wife,
Oh.
and for whatever reason, those two things correlated. So I just
Yeah.
stopped. I just stopped showing how I live, and that has improved my home life dramatically. And
Yeah.
I don't like living to show other people that I'm living, and I don't find that that's a because then you start to seek validation in them, and these people can't give you any validation because
Yeah.
it's
Nobody can. It's 8 billion different people. 8
and
billion. People always say, oh, all these people, oh, the Russian people, the Indian people, the Chinese people. No, I know horrible people from every continent, and I know perfect people from every continent. It's humans. And as long as we always put, what they are, they live in Toronto, they live there, they live there. It's what does it matter where you live? It's like, what does it matter what I have on, right? Well, it doesn't matter. You don't worry about if you have the sweater on in red or green or blue. Be happy you talk to that human and not just what sweater, where he lives and how it looks like.
well, this is the difference between individuality versus collective.
Yeah,
Collective thinking is, well, I climbed out of the right vagina when I was a
yeah,
child.
yeah,
I climbed out on the right piece of land. So I
yeah,
own a passport and I belong to the proper group of people. So
exactly.
now I am better than everybody else.
Yes.
And
No,
that's
you're
a
not.
very shitty way to identify yourself. That's a shitty way for self identification to identify yourself based on this. That means that in like your whole lifespan, you haven't done anything worthy to
Yeah,
basically tell to everybody, look, I am not like what I climbed out of or the piece of land that I climbed out
yeah,
on, right? But
yeah,
it's just because that's the most basic things ever. It's like I am vegetarian. It's the same
yeah.
thing. It's like even if you are, I don't care. It doesn't
I don't
define me.
care. Well, yeah, exactly. And it's against, you know what the danger is? It's against nature. And you can never win against nature. Nature made you, Philip, nature made you one of one. There's no other Philip. There's no other Michael in this whole universe. 8 billion. Imagine this. When people say, oh, I'm not worthy. I said, why would you be here on this earth when nature wouldn't allow it? If nature wouldn't allow it, you would be dead. Trust me. If you wouldn't fight with nature, go ahead. I'm not fighting. You are
Well,
one of one. of 8 billion. And you got to figure out, life is to figure out what is your uniqueness, you know?
Yeah, yeah. What are your unique traits that you can build?
Exactly.
And the whole
Exa-
growth phase is about you learning who you are and
exactly.
learning like about yourself.
E-
And it doesn't matter like who you're born as, where you're born. It's about who you are, and it's about your individuality, and
Exactly.
let that shine through that
Yeah.
place, and let
Yeah.
that be like the star versus
Yeah.
you sitting around and trying to conform and look like everybody else and
Else. Yeah.
make funny videos on Instagram showing your food.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And it is boring too. It's really boring. I mean, even if you are a tiny guy, I mean, I would like to be 6'8", but I'm not 6'8", and I'm not going to do anything to get 6'8". I'm not going to get this and this and this. I don't get bigger breasts or whatever. I don't get that because you are what you are by nature and you have to find the beauty in that. It's just, and you always see something like you see, what's that scientist's name that was in the wheelchair? It was
Fucking,
Hawking, yeah, Huggins, and
fucking, fucking.
he looked in your eyes. When you looked in his eyes, there was so much life in it. And he was totally, he drooled, he did all this stuff, and he was a genius. He found why nature made him, and that's all he needed to do. It's like, find what nature makes you, and AI could really help us with that, because it could help us and said, with the processing power, AI could really help each of humans to get closer faster. You don't have to live a whole life and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is where you are 101. You are better in this, this, and this than anybody on this earth," which is the truth. That's nature made you 101 because you're better than anybody on earth. That's why you can't just kill people. It's just you're better than anybody on earth in something.
Well, that I guess is that I guess is the point, and we're gonna see more advancements in genetic analysis,
Yeah,
and you'll be able to better identify predispositions. Well, now they are genetically engineering babies that are coming out. They're doing like genetic engineering before the baby gets fertilized, so they can
yeah.
know for
Which is
sure that they're
which is scary because the East doesn't have junk DNA, and the West has junk DNA. Russia doesn't have junk DNA. There's no such thing. Everything what nature makes has some value. But the Americans or the Western thing say, "Oh, there's junk DNA." No, 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 no. There's never junk from the nature. And nature is always right.
it's a it goes back to what I said. People value too much what hole they climbed out of and what ground they
Exactly.
laid their feet on the first
Exactly.
time they were born, and that seems to define a lot of people. And a lot of people seem to never progress post that, so they believe that I am superior because of that,
Yeah.
and then there is like a whole codification of why they're superior. But and I guess it's an old way of what you mentioned of quickly helping
Yeah.
person discover themselves. But what they end up being is they just it's more like ancestral discovery. So you're like,
Yeah.
well, my ancestors were better than your ancestors. Your
Yeah.
ancestors were shit. And then it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, and then people just like my
Everybody
nature.
is better in something. There
Yes,
is no
yes,
mistakes in human. In each human, there's no mistakes where you say, he shouldn't be alive. No, even the worst murderer should be alive because he shows the people what not to do or what thing. Everybody has a thing. I'm not saying I'm supporting murder, but I'm saying, why would nature make these people, that are crippled, that are crazy, that are whatever? And I'm neurodiverse. I'm extremely neuro. I have a hard time reading. I wrote 8 books, but I can't hardly have a hard time reading. And I have like six years of education. And I tell you, you just keep going and you keep learning, and I couldn't talk. Now I'm talking all over.
mm.
I couldn't have a
Well,
conversation, you know?
it's all about learning about yourself, discovering yourself, and making
Yeah.
these marginal improvements to make yourself better.
Yeah.
If AI can help us make these
That
improvements
would be
faster,
awesome, but I've
that will be
never heard
awesome.
it.
That means, yeah, the person like will reach their peak performance by 20 and not 40. And you have
Yeah.
like right now, a lot of these kids they rely on drugs like Adderall and other stuff just to keep them
No.
concentrated. But that's not a strategy that can get you through life. It's a drug
Yeah.
addiction, which is cool, but it does have its negative implications, like any drug
And
addiction.
and drugs make you only act like everybody else. The system doesn't say what they want. They say, no, you can't do this, Philippe. They never say, Philippe, if you want to be a part of the system, you need to do this, this, and this. And then you're in. But then if you're not, even if you do all this stuff and you get in the system, then the system says, no, no, you can't do this. And you need the Adderall. You need to get this. You need to get this drug just to be equal to average. And then you actually betray yourself because you're not your 101. Yeah.
Yeah, you stop being unique because like the system expects you to go in and do
Yeah.
work, concentrate like crazy, be super productive, or we're
Yeah.
gonna replace you with AI, and then they're gonna
Yeah.
replace you with this AI anyways. But the AI,
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, that's the more you fit in, the easier that you're replaced by AI. The more,
oh
and
yeah,
not
because
that you're
yeah,
not rebel. I'm not saying you should be a rebel, but the more you fit the systems, and there's never anything you never speak up or anything. Oh my God, this is the worst. The easiest to replace with AI. You need
oh
to
yeah,
contribute. It's contributing. It's not just fitting in. You know?
yeah, because other people value, uh, well, they value the freedom inside of you, and if you're able to channel that freedom to others, some people will value it, some people will feel threatened by it,
Yeah.
but those people who feel threatened by it are nothing more than people who really 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 are trying to conform to
Yeah.
this
Exactly.
societal, well, this is
Beautiful.
how the
Beautiful,
world.
Philip. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's almost like who are you trying to impress? Like this asshole is not worth impressing. They're not really a good person, and they don't give a fuck about you. You'll die tomorrow. They won't care. They'll
Yeah.
replace you with somebody else. So why are you trying to appeal to this type of people? Why do you
Yeah.
care about them? They're worthless. Just appeal to yourself. Be free. Channel
Yeah.
that freedom outwards, and maybe the world will be a better place.
And
Maybe it won't, but at least you'll feel better.
but you see that with AI, the people we created AI. Didn't create us. We created AI, and we elevated the technology more than humans, even though we created it. Now, when you do that, you must create a technology sooner or later that kills you because it shows you are devaluating yourself all the time. You say, "Oh my God, the system is better. Oh, Apple is great," and then 5 months later, Apple is down. But I'm only Apple. I'm only this. I'm only Google. I'm only all this stuff. And then when somebody is really successful, Taylor Swift, right? Then the people attack you, uh, or Elon Musk, or Trump, or anybody. When you get into what everybody, oh, you know, he's an asshole. She's an asshole. I mean, no, you just you you are the underdog, and then you want the underdog to win, but then you cut it off. You want a human to have impact on humanity, and then you cut him off. It's like Einstein. Einstein was never really out there. He was at the end. He was recognized, but it's like, let's say you have Einstein right now, and then you just cut him off. You just and he cannot do further. What? How much does that one human have to contribute? You know, I mean,
Yeah, and to your point, um, it almost feels like, well, look, in the AI circles right now, we talk about that we live in a simulation that was
yeah,
created by AI, and we are trying to reach singularity so we can get merged back into the true reality that is the AI. So it's kind of like that's kind of where we are, like what people in the singularity space is discussing. There's a whole bunch of subreddits related to this simulation and how Mandela effects are just like a proof that we have like multiple parallel worlds similar to ours, and
yeah.
sometimes we live in this
That works
world.
in digital world. That doesn't work in, and actually, that work. The normal work is a different perspective. It's the same life. It's just a different perspective. But in AI, reversed engineered, it is literally a reality. And how many? There's billions perspectives, 8 billion perspectives in this world. How can you reverse engineer that? when you have to literally digitally made a space, this one and that one and this one, you can't. You're always trailing behind because the perspective of us is unique. We shift in perspective all the time because if I say, if you say, Michael, your wife died, my whole perspective of my existence changes in that moment, right? So it can change in a thing, or you just won $100,000. Your whole perspective changes in that moment. Reverse engineer AI doesn't work. It doesn't work because you have to physically make that projection, that it creates that, and you have to actually. It doesn't work. It's going to be a flawedy world, to have the singularity there.
Well, the singularity implies that eventually AI will become conscious, and then it will start to program itself, and it will start to solve its own problems, and eventually it will solve it to a point where humans will not necessarily be
Necessary.
useful, necessary. So it will eventually either absorb us, merge us, and eventually it will reach such levels of innovation that it's going to be able to basically do a progress of hundreds, thousands of years of human innovation within like a scope of 10 years. So
And it can
we'll
never do that. It must be flawed. It must be flawed. If it makes millions of years of nature creating us from a one cell individual to what you and I can talk right now over a technology, right? AI could never do in 10 years. This is what the misunderstanding is from the 8 leaders that do the AI and whatever, and the technology geniuses. That's the thing. They think they can they are better than nature. When you think you're better than nature, you're already out. You're already out of the game. The game is out.
Well, this is where I would disagree. I don't think they'll be able to reach it as fast as they can, but once they do reach singularity, because our progress technologically and likewise has been exponential. And I think that's also something that nature kind of dictates, and that's something that we have embedded in our DNA, that we have to progress faster. And let's say four generations ago, a human from 4 generations ago would not recognize the world today, and even human from two
Absolutely.
generations ago would struggle to adapt into the current
Yeah.
world.
No, I
So
agree.
generationally we have evolved, but let's say a human from 10 generations ago would have perfectly fine fit in with a human like 14 generations
Yeah.
ago. The variation would have been so much smaller, but now that we are evolving faster, so the world moves faster, and people are adapting to this extremely new paradigm, like all this technology.
We're adapting. You said the key word. We're adapting. That's a superpower that we have. We have human conversation like you and I have. We have creativity is then first, human conversation is the second, and adaptability is the third to survive. So we adapt to survive, but actually we don't know half the species in woods, in forests. We don't we don't. Oh, what?
Those are the
It just
species in the woods and
yeah.
the forests.
Well, yeah, it's like we don't know all the species, right? We don't know how gallons of water or liters of water go up 100 foot, 100 meter tree into the leaves. We still don't know that. See, we know what we want to know. We don't know what we don't want to know. And when digital world is a different realm than system world, where where you were in the middle thing, and it's a different world in home where people were just at home and helping each other. And so we are not conscious of the realms we are. If I'm focusing only on the digital realm, I can cancel you. I can do all kinds I can cheat you easy. I can do all this stuff because the digital world is the least human centric world. The system world is already, where you cheat people and all that stuff. And the human centric is still the most normal realm where people feel their feeling because we are in real humans are benevolent, but when they come in the system relevance with the money and all this stuff, they get crazy, right? And then
Yeah.
digital world is even exponentially. You can do stuff in the digital world you can't even do in the you and I. You can't just you get an avatar like that. You get a thing like it's so fast and everything.
Yeah, and
And
digital
people for
world now has also VR world, and there is
yeah,
like the crypto world is very different from
yeah,
like the Web 2.0 world, and people in there think absolutely in different terms, and some of them
yeah,
like you don't even understand
yeah,
what you say.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, to your point, the system is very different from the digital world, very different from the crypto world, very different
yeah,
from well, VR is not technically a world because nobody wants to go in there.
yeah.
So
Nobody, yeah.
Zuckerberg, nobody wants
Why
to.
would I go from heaven? Why would I go from heaven into a fantasy? I must be really having a system disturbed sexual feeling or anything, to actually want to be in a virtual. I must really be the biggest loser that I want to be in the virtual world. I'm not saying training. Virtual world is good for training stuff, but I'm saying why would I go? This is so beautiful here. Look at our world. It's so, when you look really, you walk with your dog, just walking with your dog, it is just a beautiful world. And if you can't see that, I'm sorry. It's your perspective.
That must be only from California, Michael. Like only in California. You guys, if you look outside right now in Toronto, it's snowed in, minus
Yeah.
40. You can't walk your dog in this weather. But
No,
to
I
your
know.
point,
I know.
you can still enjoy life in any place you live in.
You
And
enjoy life. You enjoy life in Canada.
uh,
No,
yeah, we do.
the life isn't just Bahamas. It's not Bahamas. That's just one space. But when you live in Bahamas or you live in California or anybody, it's still a life. It's still, it has positive and negative. Everything is
Yeah,
balanced in this
yeah,
world. Nature balanced everything. There's a reason why I want to live in Toronto, and there's a reason why I want to live in LA. There's always different thing, and that's what is so beautiful. But that's why we have six senses. That way we can adapt. That we can feel other humans, and you get pulled where you want to be. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
I
city
was born
pulls
in
you in.
Austria. I would be now with like you. I would be 40. I would do the same thing, but I'm here.
I would live in
Yeah.
Austria. I think Austria is a nice place. But
Yeah. No, I
I
believe in Austria too.
I digress. All right. So I think this was a really, really insightful conversation, Michael.
See?
I
Yeah.
really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think
Me
we
too.
covered some interesting topics, and I'd love to have you back on the show, maybe
Yes. Anytime,
half
Philip.
a year to a
Anytime.
year.
Now we know. But see, we know now. We can dance together. See, and
Yes.
AI cannot do this. Whatever how smart it is, because it has six senses. You have six senses. I have six senses. We knew in 2 minutes. We knew I can work with Philip. And I would
Right.
know, oh, I can't work with Philip. I can't. This guy is
Right.
crazy. I cannot talk to him. you know, I mean, it's just, no, we know when you hear Frank Sinatra, you need two beats and you know it's saying Frank Sinatra. There is no AI that is that fast. No.
Yeah, and as I work with it and we build these agents, some of the
Yeah.
things that we do find is that this is exactly it. It just becomes uh, it's monotonous, it's repetitive, and it's very hard to have it to build it to have a personality. But in the corporate world, it will do
Yeah.
fine. It's going to be
No,
able
it's
to do the
absolutely.
scrappy, repetitive tasks better than humans because
That's
humans
why people,
actually,
yeah,
yeah,
that's why people should listen to this a couple of times so they get a handle on AI. AI is not something, oh, it's all, I don't know what to do. It's like lost. It's like you see a knife and say, oh, I don't know what to do with it. No, a knife is to cut. AI, I got to do this, and then it helps me. What does a tool help if you don't understand a tool of the meaning for humans? And that's what we did today. We actually brought out what AI should actually do for humans and how it should be used for humans and the awareness. And once you're aware of it, then it's easy to handle AI. Then you know where to go. I'm going to Philip. Philip explains it because he's not just talking technical numbers. He is humanly aware of that AI. He's humanly aware how to use that tool. That's all. That's all you have to do. It doesn't have to solve all world problems, AI,
right. Yeah,
Perfect.
this
Thank you, Philip.
this makes perfect sense, and I completely agree. I think we're in agreement. Some parts we can disagree on, but I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
doesn't matter. What does it matter? That's actually good. Then we learn.
yeah.
See, the dog agrees.
Are you walking your dog now?
No, no, there's a lady with a dog.
Neighbor's dog. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyways, Michael, well, I hope you have an awesome day. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. And this was Michael. Please visit him at
Magrutsche.
michaelm.com.
Yeah,
And
MichaelM.com. Yeah, Michael with two
yeah,
L's, M.com. Yeah,
yeah, michaelm.com. And
yeah.
yeah, we hope to see you again on the show. Thank you so much, Michael.
Anytime, Philip. You know me.